All right, we're back. We're live here on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And we have a great audience here. We're in a space in the midsection of the ship that is called Playmakers, which is the sports bar on the ship. I broadcast from this exact ship and this exact place in the past on the cruise. It's a great spot. We're still in a port somewhere. I'm not sure what the stop is, Puerto Vallarta or something.
Puerto Plata.
Dominican, somewhere in the Dominican. Again, I never get to get off the ship, so I know people are coming back on and enjoying. It's hot out there, but they're all coming back from wherever they went out there, and we are live. And our first official guest, we had the guy that runs the cruise on, because we always do that every year, get a little update on next year's cruise and how this one is going. Larry Moran just left us, but our first artist joining us on the roster of these 3 days that we're broadcasting from the ship is an old friend who doesn't ever appear to age, even though I've known her for about 30. She celebrated like 40 years singing, and I've known her for about 30, but she absolutely made a deal with the devil, because she doesn't look any different than when we first saw her on the Warlock album. And ladies and gentlemen, the great Doro Pesch is here. Better known as just Doro, but I go back to when you use your last name as well, of course.
Thank you so much for having me. And
of course.
Great to be here again.
Yeah,
yes.
How are you? Okay?
Oh, very good, very good. I just came back from Brazil. We played Monsters of Rock festivals in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, with Kiss and Scorpions, Deep Purple,
Do you only
Halloween.
play events called Monsters of Rock?
Yes.
One in Brazil? Now you're on a cruise called that?
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was just 4 days ago, and now we're here and having a great time. And yeah,
So you are
excited.
always, like, for your whole career, like I mentioned Warlock, that was 83, right? Was
yes,
that 83?
yeah, we formed in 82. First record came out in 83. That was Burning the Witches. And then the big record was Triumph and Agony in 1987.
And All We Are was such a big song and all of that.
Yes. We still play it, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that that's 40 years ago. And I know, and having known you for so long, you are so incredibly grateful for the career that you have, because you grew up such a music fan, and to be able to have had a successful career for 40 years doing this is amazing. And you celebrated, was it 30 years or 35 years when you did the big thing in Germany?
Oh, actually, we celebrate every 5 years.
So 30, 35.
Yes,
So
20 year was actually, that was the first celebration, and Lemmy and Motorhead were there, Saxon.
Yeah.
And then we did a 30 year, the Scorpions came to celebrate, and this year is 40-year anniversary. We will celebrate my former hometown, Düsseldorf, Germany, on the 28th of October. If you guys are in Germany at that time.
So that's when the 40th party is?
Yes. And we do one little celebration in Wacken. Actually, the big one.
Okay.
Big one in Wacken, and yeah.
So what do you have planned for 40? What do you know? What are you going to do?
Oh, many guests. For example, guys, like Udo Dirk Schneider will be there, and Biff of Saxon, and I grew up in the glam rock times, so Sweet, Slade, T-Rex, Alice Cooper, Susie Quatro was very influential on me, so Sweet will be there as well with Ballroom Blitz, and probably Mille of Creator, and all kinds of people, and Johan from Amon Amarth, and so everybody said they would come, and
In the past, you've recorded these and put them out. Do you plan to do that again?
Yes, yeah. I know DVDs or Blu-rays are not as popular anymore, but we definitely want to do really cool, with the whole history. And I definitely want to do it. Maybe the last time, but yes.
Doro, this is my 40th year doing radio, so maybe we combine our parties.
Oh, I would love that. I would love it, yes. And you did so much for metal.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do, but I'm glad you got a plan, because I have no idea what I'm going to do for my 40th, but I'm going to do something.
Let's do it together. I would be totally
Hey, I'm half German, so I could come over there. They'd let me be part of that thing, I think.
Yes.
So, and the other thing I wanted to ask you when I think about your career, and I know you said you have a new record, which I want to touch on here in a second, but as you came into this business very young, in the very early 80s, and have been doing this for so long. And when you came in, it was not as easy for women as it is now. Now, there's still challenges, of course, but when you see what's happening with women in music in general, but certainly in rock, and I've talked about this many times, whether it's women in bands fronting the band, all women, all female groups, female members in the band, or even behind the scenes. For years, if there were women on crews, they were usually like in the wardrobe department or whatever. Now you see women tour managers all the time. It's amazing how that's all changed, and it's awesome to see. But it wasn't like that when you started. It was a tough road, right?
Actually, I tell you, I always felt really good being a woman. There was never a problem. I don't know. I just was a musician.
But there weren't that many of you doing it then.
No, weren't that many. But it always felt great. I was always supported by all these great bands like Judas Priest or Saxon, Motorhead, Dio. And they were always so kind to me and supportive. I never felt any different. It was just, I was the singer in Warlock, and that was it. And I never made a big deal out of it. And I always felt really, really good. And I think for a metal musician, that was always the difficult thing, you know, to fight for your music, for your record deal, for every tour, to stay on board, even when metal wasn't so popular, for example, in the 90s, when grunge was getting bigger. But being a woman, I always felt really good and comfortable, and I was always treated so good, so good.
Was there a role model for you early on that was a woman as a singer, that, or even in the business, that you looked up to and you said, wow, maybe it's Ann or Nancy Wilson from Heart, or a few people that predated you? Were there women role models for you in rock? Because I know most of your stuff you just loved metal, whatever it was. But were there women that were influential to you?
Actually, I must say there was always Lemmy and Rob Halford.
Lemmy's definitely not a woman.
David Coverdale, Ronnie James Dio. And that was actually great. And I didn't necessarily was looking for other women. I loved Ann Wilson of Heart. I think she was killer. And I had some great friends like Lita Ford, Lee Aaron, who was here on this boat as well. And that was it. But I always was looking for great singers. And my first concert I've ever seen was David Coverdale and Whitesnake in 1980. And I thought, oh my God. And second concert was Judas Priest with Excerpt as support band. And and then we hopped on tour with Judas Priest. A dream came true. And but it was always good to be a woman, I must say. So that's nice to hear. So 40 years, and with that kind of career, is there a couple moments that jump out to you that were like real high points? Somebody you sang with, a moment for the band? Can you give the audience, like for you personally, when you look back on 4 decades of doing this, like some of the things that really were special to you? Yeah, I tell you, so many. I can just tell you a few. Of course, doing these duets with Lemmy, that was the ultimate. It was so great. We did 3 songs together. That was unbelievable. And the duet with Pete Steele, that was really, really special. And working with Gene Simmons, he did one of our records in 1989-90.
Are you still paying him?
No. He always told me I should take care of business. He said, you didn't learn from me enough. But I just seen him, 5 days ago, 4 days ago. And, he said, so how was the money situation? I thought, getting there after 40 years. But I learned a lot.
How's the money? That's so great. You haven't seen Gene in 5 years. First thing he says to you is, how's the money situation? That's perfect. That's classic. Well, nice to see you. How's your career? How's the money situation? Oh, gosh, that's awesome. You have a new record. You just showed me the artwork.
Oh, yes.
You said you literally just finished it. Tell everybody about it. I
wanted to finish it before the Monsters of Rock Festival, before the cruise, and it's called Conquerors Forever Strong and Proud. It will be out in October 27th worldwide on Nuclear Blast, and it has 19 songs and one very, very special guest. Oh God, I can't tell you guys who it is, but it's somebody I know him for a long time, and he's killer.
Wait, so 19 songs, is it a double record?
No, it's actually 15 songs and then a bonus CD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is almost a double record.
It's a lot of material.
Yeah, last time was a real full-blown double record, but it had 25 songs, so now 19.
Oh, wow. So that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff coming. And you know what I wanted to ask you about, too, that I always thought about? The Dio documentary came out not too long ago. And you loved Ronnie like so many of us did. And I'm sure he was an influence on you as well.
Yes, totally.
You did a phenomenal version of Egypt, The Chains Are On. Can you talk about recording that? And did he hear it when you did it? And did you ever get feedback from him on it?
He loved it, and he played it many times on the radio. And that's actually how we did our second tour together. I went to see him on his Magica release party.
Right.
It was in 2000, and then I said, "Hey, the record sounds great." We were just listening to Magica, and he said, "Doro, I'm so glad I can tell you I love your version of Egypt." And I said, "Really?" And I got tears in my eyes because from somebody, which I loved so much, and that he would say, "I love that song. I love the treatment." So we have played it so many times. And I was so sad that I wasn't in the movie because we had a plan of filming, and then with the COVID situation, we had to cancel the America tour 3 times, and then the movie was done. So, but I loved Ronnie, and we had the best times, and we were always like great friends. But on the America tour, we became really close, and we hung out together day and night, and went out to dinner, and he was very funny. Wow, we were on the floor laughing. He was really, really funny.
I don't think people realize that about Ronnie, is that he had a sense of humor, and he would be, as we say here in the U.S., he's a ball buster. I don't know if you have that term in Germany.
Yes,
but he was a ball buster. Like, he would love to wind me up, and he would love to kind of like get you going a little bit, and not take everything so serious. I think people always think of Ronnie as this very serious, like, intense guy, but he really wasn't in person at all.
No, he was totally like easy and having fun, and then he was such a sweetheart.
Well, I got to go to a break. Let's do a quick break right now, and when we come back, we will get some more guests going here, and we'll continue from the Monsters of Rock cruise. Thank you so much, Doro.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Best of luck on the record. Thank you.
Have a great time, guys and girls, Metalheads. Thank you, Eddie, for having me.
Thank you.